Well, it's been 6 years since the last appearance that he's had in a Hollywood film, and he's raring and itching to go. Now, obviously, I'm talking about Matthew McConaughey, and without using some kind of kitsch or phrase that everyone knows him for from way back in the day, he's going to say it himself in the first part of this article, which means that I'm going to have a terrible delivery. Matthew McConaughey on returning to acting after a 6-year hiatus with the rivals of Amzia King and why a season of True Detective is the best, which are weird things to put into perspective. To, basically try to bring up two things. Like one was probably 15 years ago right now. And that's just speaking off the top of the dome to what he's doing now after his long way away from Hollywood. Let's see what they have to say about it. Because on the first day of shooting, Matthew McConaughey, his right eye swollen from a bee sting. So apparently, he's clean. He ain't smoking cigarettes because the smoke will keep the bees away. Walked onto the set, raised his hand, and asked, "Is anybody else nervous except for me?" Now, he hasn't completely walked away from the spotlight. He had like a TikTok and there were some Instagram feeds and everything else, like stories. I think that's what they call it over there. He had a bunch of stuff where he was talking to the camera. A lot of people did that during COVID. A lot of people did it afterwards too. And a lot of them failed because without a script, they basically had no personality. Matthew McConaughey, however, does have a personality. The exact same person you see on screen with a few nuances is exactly who he is in real life. But the thing about this little incident was that McConaughey wasn't joking because he has been out of the industry for a long time. He admits that he felt creaky returning to the screen after a 6-year hiatus during which he wrote a memoir, Green Lights. So yeah, he's still been doing stuff. He didn't just completely disappear off the map. He's still been doing stuff. He's done a few voice roles in films like Sing 2. That's one with like the fat pig as if there was a skinny pig, but spent time with his family and kept a lower profile. He's been living in the great state. I needed to write my own story, to write my own story on the page, and that's what he says of that's what McConaughey says of his time away from being in front of the camera. I completely understand that sentiment. Whenever you've got paparazzi and all kinds of other stuff, not saying I've ever had paparazzi, it won't happen ever. But when you've got that kind of stuff and every detail of your life is just latched onto by people who just want to know more about you, don't know you personally, yeah, you do need that Walden Pond in the woods where you can just disconnect for a long time. Most respect. Also, when he's got a family, like, come on. But when he came back and he came across Andrew Patterson's script, which focused on the charismatic owner of a hunting operation in Oklahoma and his relationship with his foster child, he was drawn to its originality and strong sense of place. It fit like a pair of worn-in jeans. Or Levi's if you took a shower with them back in the day. Not many of y'all will get that reference, but it is true. And quoting him, "It's not where I grew up, but I know of these kind of people and these places and these kind of characters that live in the middle of the country. This group of people in Southeast Oklahoma, where the film takes place, know the Constitution based. They know the rules they're living by, and they're not looking for or getting approval from the rest of the world. I understand them. Thank you. At least someone in Hollywood is understanding them." Patterson had labored on the project for years. He even made it a mini series at some point, but then basically whenever it got picked up, he had to shrink it all the way back down to a movie. He had to do a lot of cuts, a lot of edits, and he wanted to make it as poppy in that sense. Like he wanted to make it pop on the screen as much as possible because we've seen a lot of long form series. They basically just fall and die. Now we have had some great ones. Let's look at Tulsa King. Just don't make it go on too long. Anyway, this is a tirade, not a tirade, but this is for another time. I wanted an actor with the type of personality where he could just hang out with them for hours. Well, that's kind of like how he is in real life. It had to be somebody so disarming who would just do their thing inside this world I was trying to evoke and who could be comedic in a dramatic movie. There aren't many people like that. And just to parse my words, this is Patterson saying this. Now, even on the phone, McConaughey, with his tendency to monologue, yes, he is one of those people. If you've seen any of his Instagram stories or his TikToks, I can't remember because I don't have a TikTok. And I also, my Instagram is from probably 12 or 13 years ago at this point. All I did was post a couple of pictures. But I have seen some of these stories, shall we say, come up from McConaughey, and he kind of has. I mean, he obviously has a southern drawl, but he kind of just goes on about basically nothing. And you can tell that's in his personality because you could see that in most of the roles that he plays in the movies that he does. He likes to digress, looping away from a question before somehow gliding back to an answer with an easygoing assurance that leaves you more interested in the journey than the destination. And so he would make a good lawyer. Maybe that's why he was so good in Lincoln Lawyer and A Time to Kill, because that's literally a part of his personality. He doesn't want this to be a one-sided conversation, asking me, Patterson, the director of this film, what I thought the meaning was behind a certain scene or my take on the film's rural backdrop. And he says, well, there you go. And the reason why I'm making this video today, not only because Matthew McConaughey seems like a guy like you could hang out with. Obviously, I'm not going down to the pier and working out with him or anything like that, but he seems like a cool guy. He seems very family driven and everything like that. This film, The Rivals of Amzia King, comes out today, and it was actually at this time it's probably being shown right now at South by Southwest, which is actually only about an hour and a half drive away from where I am. But no way am I going to involve myself in all of the Hollywood cretin that is around that place at this time. However, I would love to see this film. I remembered a couple things he says. One, how much I truly enjoy performing. That's really it. That's really it. Sometimes you just need to step away for a little bit. You know, vacations are great. It's great for the sanity of everybody involved. Not only you, whenever you're, working a job, and these actors, a lot of times when they are employed, they have extremely grueling hours between makeup, like extremely early in the morning, early shoots, midday shoots, night shoots. Now, granted, someone of McConaughey's stature, he gets like trailers and stuff like that. So anytime that he's not called to the set, he can go be chilling, taking naps. But either way, it messes with your circadian rhythm. And that's something that's hard to get back. You also don't have much time, with your actual family because you're on location all the time or in front of a green screen trying to act, when there's absolutely nothing to interact with. There's a whole lot of stuff that goes on with actors, which is why they're so batshit insane most of the time. Not all of them, though. And I think the ones that are, still a little bit down to earth know that a vacation is not only needed, but absolutely necessary. But anyway, are you excited for this movie? Are you excited to see Matthew McConaughey back? I know I am. I'll be giving this a watch because it actually seems like it's going to be like a heartfelt tale and not some crazy like street hooker thing that's going to win the Oscars next year. It's just going to be a good film. We'll see, though. We always have to decide for ourselves, and you should too. This is Malty from Mouth of Malty. Y'all have a great day and take care.